Gates says, no relationship, nada, nothing. You report these two men met at least 6 times. What does Gates say about that?
Well, I believe that there were more, and he and his spokespeople would not say how many in total they actually met. But this included visits to the mansion, seeing each other in Seattle, flying on Epstein's plane, when we all know Bill Gates has his own $40 million plane. And then, as an investigative reporter, why would Gates say, oh, I had no relationship with him, when, of course, he knows what the facts are? So that always sets off red flags for me.
He also has one of the largest, most established foundations on his own.
Yes.
Why would they ever set up a charitable trust benefiting Jeffrey Epstein?
Well,
what's the explanation?
Not only does he have the world's largest charitable foundation, but one of their primary missions is to help young women in underprivileged countries. Jeffrey Epstein was preying on young women from Eastern Europe, from South Africa, luring them into his web. And it's the antithesis of what the Gates Foundation stands for. And by the way, there were Gates Foundation employees who were horrified when they realized what Jeffrey Epstein had done and was saying, we don't want to have anything to do with this, and yet the project went on.
The Jeffrey Epstein saga keeps getting deeper, and I am here for it. The jail guards who were supposed to be guarding Jeffrey on the night of his suicide just struck a very sweet deal with the feds. 0 jail time and only 100 hours of community service. Somehow, that does not seem appropriate to me. The Bill and Melinda Gates divorce is shedding new light onto the Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein relationship. In fact, according to documents leaked by Melinda's lawyers, the Bill and Jeffrey connection is one of the main reasons for the divorce. And let's keep in mind that that relationship is one that Bill denied for years. In today's video, we're going to cover the shenanigans that went on in the prison on the night of Jeffrey's suicide. Then we'll briefly touch on Bill's and Jeffrey's relationship, and, by the way, I thought you should know Ghislaine Maxwell's trial was delayed for a few months. Just enough time for her to get the Epstein treatment. Nice. So let's begin with Fox News and the prison guards who fell asleep during the most high-profile case in America in the last decade, at least. Jeffrey Epstein's guards who slept the night of his suicide strike deal to avoid time behind bars. Okay. 2 corrections officers who were supposed to be guarding Jeffrey Epstein's cell the night he died by suicide cut a deal with prosecutors Friday that will allow them to avoid time behind bars. Under the deferred prosecution agreement, Tova Noel and Michael Thomas will admit that they falsified records and will be sentenced to 100 hours of community service, according to a letter written by federal prosecutors Friday. 100 hours of community service. That's it. This is the most high-profile case in the last decade. Child diddling and trafficking. Prosecutors said that the pair browsed the internet and slept at their desk just 15 feet from Epstein's cell instead of making their scheduled rounds every half hour. Under the deal, Noel and Thomas admitted that they willfully and knowingly completed materially false counts and round slips. But now we're supposed to trust them. Now they're telling the truth, right? No. They should go to trial and we should get to the bottom of this. Who are they protecting? Here's the last thing I wanted to show you. Just mind-blowing to me. Epstein was arrested on July 6 on federal sex trafficking charges. He was placed on suicide watch after he was found with a stripped bedsheet around his neck. So he was already on suicide watch. He was then transferred to a prison hospital wing for about a week and then returned to a regular cell on July 30. Epstein's cellmate was transferred out of the cellmate on August 9th. And on August 10th, when the cameras stopped working and the guards fell asleep, Jeffrey Epstein got the Jeffrey Epstein treatment. Now, is that suicide? Is that murder? Maybe he's alive somewhere. Who knows? I don't. But there's another thing I wanted to show you. Because they claim, this is from the AP, that the guards were exhausted. Both officers who were guarding Epstein were working overtime because of staffing shortages. One of the guards, who did not primarily work as a correctional officer, was working a 5th straight day overtime. The other guard was working mandatory overtime, meaning a second 8-hour shift of the day. Sure, maybe this is true, but I have a question. Who put exhausted guards in the position to guard the most high-profile case? Who put these people in the position? It's like news outlets. When someone buys a newspaper and they want, for example, to be pro-Trump or anti-Trump, they don't tell their employees, okay, now you have to start writing pro-Trump stuff. No, they'll just hire someone that loves Trump and they'll naturally start writing for it. Here they did the same thing. They grabbed someone that was naturally exhausted so he would fall asleep. Or maybe it's completely true and they're in on it. Who knows? But let's talk about Bill Gates for a sec. Bill Gates, a lot of things are coming out from Melinda's lawyers or leaking. This is one of the juicy stuff that's not that relevant to this story, but I just want to show you that this guy's some type of sex fiend. An article published in 1997 revealed that Bill and Melinda Gates had an agreement in which he could spend one long weekend a year with his ex-girlfriend at her beach house in North Carolina. Now, I'm not going to read you the story because it's gossip and who cares, but it gives us an insight to the weird stuff inside the man's head. The man who everyone believes is a good old guy who wears comfy sweaters. Weird. Check this out. All the times Bill Gates reportedly engaged in questionable conduct before he and Melinda Gates announced their divorce. A couple of these are a little juicy, but at the bottom it gets to the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. Bill Gates' public image as a nerdy do-gooder has crumbled amid recent allegations of misconduct. Yeah, finally. Bill Gates started dating Melinda when she was his employee. Well, that's not great. Gates had an intimate relationship with a Microsoft employee while married to French Gates. It's Melinda. Whatever. In 2019, we're not reading it, we're just going through them. Gates asked a female Microsoft employee out to dinner, and then he did it again here, asked another foundation employee out to dinner. So he likes getting his underlings to go out with him. But here's the good stuff. Gates continued to spend time with Jeffrey Epstein years after his first sex crime conviction. Okay? So he knew what he was getting with. At least 2 Gates Foundation employees kept in touch with Jeffrey Epstein. They had plans to revive Jeffrey Epstein's image, partnering him with the Bill Gates Foundation. Bill Gates actually hoped to get a Nobel Peace Prize because of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Little did he know, huh? Sad. And then we have Ghislaine Maxwell's trial being delayed because they're adding new charges. If this is true, great. But if she ends up dying in prison, come on, man. I just wouldn't believe it. Maybe I'll believe the Epstein stuff. I'm not convinced there were shenanigans going on, even though all the evidence points towards it. But if she doesn't make it to trial, as I was getting ready for this video and reading up on some stories, I came across a story from Reuters that claimed that it was false that Bill Gates flew on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet to his private island. It was false, they claimed. See, the truth is, Reuters claimed that Bill Gates flew on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet to West Palm Beach, Florida. However, anyone with a little bit of common sense and knowledge of the area can tell you that you can take a short helicopter trip from West Palm Beach to the island. In fact, you can take a boat. No flight logs whatsoever. That sounds like the better option. That sounds like what Bill Gates probably did. But who knows? According to Reuters and the mainstream media, they're trying to protect this guy. Well, not so much now since the divorce, but, he's a good guy, wears nice sweaters, cares about vaccines and stuff. So they won't criticize him. Or Prince Andrew, or all the other powerful people around Jeffrey Epstein. The Clintons, the people who put exhausted jail guards to guard him. Everything's it's just too sketchy. Every step of the way, it's sketchy. But what do I know? Comment your opinions down below, subscribe if you like this type of content, and share. That way I can keep bringing to you the stories that the mainstream media won't cover. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.